welcome to Hard Copy from our channel's television studios in Abuja. I'm Kayla Megwa. Well, we did say that reactions will follow the Senate's decision not to sign off on the amendment to the Electoral Act requiring electronic transmission of results from polling units to the IREV in real time. For 2 days, protests erupted at the gates of the National Assembly. We saw some usual faces and some new faces joining the calls for the Senate to rethink its decision, and they did, sort of, and I'll explain. The Senate rescinded its earlier decision and we amended the bill to accommodate the electronic transmission of election results. However, where internet connectivity fails, the manually completed form EC8A will serve as the primary source for result collation and declaration. So let's be real here. Officially, election results in Nigeria don't have to be transmitted in real time to the IREV because, as our lawmakers have been explaining, network issues are rife in Nigeria, and invalidating an election because network was bad and the result could not be transmitted in real time to the IREV will be chaotic, expensive, and just not tenable. So what happens now? How does my guest feel about this? The whole idea of real-time electronic transmission of results to the IREV in real time was to ensure accountability in our election processes. Is this impossible? Are Nigerians asking for more than can be done? Is network standing in the way of progress? So what happens now? My guest tonight recently released a statement following this whole issue. He said, quote, "For many Nigerians, electronic transmission represented a straightforward mechanism to reinforce confidence in results. The absence of clear statutory obligations may leave room for operational discretion and differing interpretations," end quote. But that's not all the group I've been talking to are upset about. It's not the only amendment that him and his team have taken issue with. Bukola Idowu, the Executive Director of Kimpact Development Initiative, joins us tonight on Hard Copy. Mr. Bukola Idowu, welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
When you heard, when you heard the latest from the Senate, what was your first reaction? Mixed
reaction, actually. On one hand, you are happy that the Senate rescinded their decision by making electronic transmission of results right there into the amendment. But at the same time, when you look at the proviso that was given, it actually weakens the entire provision they have introduced. And so you keep now asking what exactly is really going on. You see, the House of Rep passed a version and they made electronic transmission of results mandatory without leaving it at the discretion of the presiding officer or INEC. And now, and everybody celebrated that, just concur. But of course, what they have now is that, look, in case communication fails, and that leave a lot of gaps, and that is why we are happy that the upper part was what we are advocating for, protesting for, and at the end of the day, you now provided another part to say, look, in case, and that alone is discouraging, and I don't think it's good for us to have that in our legal framework.
Did they move forward at all? Let's be real here. Between the old law and what they have passed now, what's the difference?
There is no difference. In fact, this makes it much more difficult. You see, the old law didn't even just left everything, which was Electoral Act of 2022, just left it at the discretion of INEC. You say as
the officer,
discretion of INEC. But however, INEC went into paragraph 38 of their guideline to now say, look, this is our discretion. This is how we will transmit. Now, they will snap with the beavers and then transmit to IREV. However, what happened was after the general election 2023, the candidate went to court and said, look, INEC said there was a glitch. They did not transmit. And the court said, the Supreme Court said, look, for the mere fact that they did not transmit to IREV does not portend like a solid ground to invalidate the election, because the beavers snapping and transmitting and the IREV are alien to the Electoral Act. It's only in your INEC guideline. However, Electoral Act supersedes the INEC guideline. And that is where the entire journey started from 2023, October. So when I say, look, so far the Supreme Court now said, look, this is just in the INEC guideline. Why not move it and just put it in the Electoral Act so that they can have legislative backing?
Have they put it in the Electoral Act now?
Now, the Senate have not put it in the Electoral Act. The House of Rev have put it in the Electoral Act. So what it means now is that we just don't know where we are. So I perfectly agree with you. We have not moved forward. So, and I think we are happy that the laws were written in English.
In English.
And so we can read.
We can read it, yeah.
At times I feel, I feel, I don't want to say pity for them when they are trying to justify what is not justifiable. And then they even come in the sight of the entire world to now begin to downgrade the country. That, no, we don't even have internet in almost. One senator said, we don't, in my village, there was no internet. And you are a governor, 1999, for 2 terms, and you have been a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and you are coming out to say there was no internet in your village. I don't think that is right.
Why is it important for results to be electronically transmitted to the IREV from the polling unit in real time?
Election is the recruitment process at which we get our leaders for the next 4 years. So what we are now saying is that, look, that process must be fraud free, must be mistake free, must be time saving, and at the end of the day, so that we can have the best of us ruling the rest of us, not the worst of us ruling the rest of us. So what we are now looking at is that transmit the result. See, let me tell you, 2003, international observers, 2003, their report, 2003, 2007, 2011, 2015, up to 2019. We picked the report. It was exactly the same thing, saying, all of them saying the weakest link in our election is that collation of results. That figures do changes from polling unit to ward collation center, from ward collation center to local government, from local government to the state collation center. And that is why Nigerians say, look, you have to transmit this thing so that you reduce human interference. And so the number one importance of this is transparency. So you are not subjecting this to human interference, and you are not leaving it to somebody's discretion. Your discretion, what is good for you is not good for me. So let's have a common ground and put it and make it to have legislative backing. So what it means is that the moment this result is being counted, transmit it and we can see. Now, in 2023, election result was transmitted real time in 93% of the polling unit. The only thing that happened was that we were not able to view them on IREV. And they are two different things. For the mere fact that we are not able to view them does not mean they did not transmit.
Yes.
Or they were not.
But the fact that we're not able to view it,
that is why we said invalidate the transmission.
Yeah.
So now what we are now saying is that, look, transmit the result, snap it, let it be there. So that when I vote in polling unit 001, in Lugbe, whatever, and then I get back home, I look at that IREV, I look at the result in my polling unit, they are the same. Is it that hard?
I had the privilege of covering the South African the last election. I brought in the South African president for his second term. And I remember with Yaga Africa, so I was at the collation center and then someone was at the field. We wanted to see how real-time transmission was because the IREV is a big screen. It's a very massive screen. So you're just sitting in the collation center. Every party agent is there. So there is the physical one.
Wow.
You're holding it. And then when the transmission happens, and transmission doesn't happen all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's when the election ends in different places, depending on the number of people at the polling unit.
Great.
So when they send the result, so we're looking at the one that we had from a particular polling unit, and we're looking at
what is on the board.
And it's exactly the same.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about the issues that they have raised with having that done. Because when I witnessed that firsthand, I thought about my country.
So maybe
and wished.
you see, I will just in 30 seconds.
Yes.
Let's switch through. How did you feel?
Oh,
That is exactly.
I wished we could do that here, because you can see every party agent is checking. They are checking to make sure it is exactly the same. Now, the issues that have been raised by our lawmakers is this network problem. Of course, you've talked about it actually makes you look bad as a lawmaker when you say that your place doesn't have network and things. What have you been doing for all the years you've been representing those people? But is it a real issue?
No.
It's not?
It's not a real issue.
Number one, you need network to transmit that thing.
So this is how it is.
Okay.
Now, have you seen any reports, either from INEC, domestic observer, foreign observer, the report have said, or even journalists covering that, look, there are places accreditation could not be done because there was no network. Accreditation, I'm not saying transmission. Now, we conduct election, accreditation was done. No complaint about network, because that beavers doesn't even need this traditional internet they are talking about to accredit. It's the same beavers that we transmit. The same beavers that you are using to accredit.
Don't we need traditional network to be able to view it on the IREV?
So we need it to view it on the IREV.
Which is more important than transmission?
Both of them are important.
No,
so
because in the last election, my point is, in 2023, there was transmission. We just couldn't view it on the IREV. So that invalidated the transmission.
See, whether we couldn't view it is another conversation. So the question is this. Don't forget, even in the South Africa election, there was a time there was a bit of glitch.
Oh, yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, what caused the glitch? Nobody knows. Nobody said anything.
There were so many attempts at hacking. In 2023 for the Nigerian election.
Attempts. Does that mean they succeeded? No. Because I have seen the INEC report. And INEC just maintained there was a glitch, no independent audit. Was it operational? Was it technical? Was it human? We don't know what exactly caused it. But that by the side. What I am trying to say is this. Look, you just have to have the political will to be able to say you transmit. And that can be done in 3 different ways. Number one, when people are saying, oh, no network, and I keep telling them, and even some of the senators agree themselves that there is no community in this country today that the POS doesn't operate. You have to first of all establish that. Most of them in Abuja here send money to their parents in the village, and they still get it. So, one, how is it that, how are the private sector, the banks, how have they been able to do it? Do we need to learn? That is one. Number two, before internet, we have been transmitting images, data, real time, before internet, through one device called fax. Now, I observed Ghana election and I observed US election. In Ghana, they still transmit their election through fax from one place to the other. No internet. Number two, Washington, District of Columbia, they still transmit their election result through fax. Fax doesn't need internet. So let's put that one aside. Number two, there are other internet. If you don't want to use the normal mass from our telecommunication companies, there are internet that connect directly to the satellite. Now, let's look at something. If we are to provide that for all the over 176,000 polling units in this country, that means at the rate of like about 400,000, we'll be spending like about 102 billion from INEC over 1 trillion budget. Does it worth it? Yes, it's worth it. However, we don't even need it, because 2021 position paper of INEC on how, don't forget that this is what people need to know, that transmission of result was not even the legislators, civil society, or yet Nigeria people idea. It was INEC idea. What INEC was just asking is give this thing, and what civil society are backing INEC to do is give this thing legislative backing. It was the idea. That means they can do it. And they released a position paper in 2021 that over 176,000 polling units is only 93%. I mean, it's only 7% that will not be able to cover by the traditional internet we have, which means 93% can be covered by the internet. 2021. So have we made progress? Yes. Which means they should be able to cover the 100%.
Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue talking about some of the challenges that our lawmakers have mentioned, especially this network issue. And then, of course, broadband penetration across our country and the issues with our elections. So please stay with us on Hard Copy. We'll be right back. Come back to Hard Copy right here on Channels Television. We're talking about the electronic transmission of our election results in real time and all of the drama around it. Mr. Idowu from Kimpact joins us tonight. Thank you very much for being with us on the program.
Thank you once again.
Okay, so let's talk about network. So you said there are so many ways around this.
Yeah.
Is there a benefit for someone who wants to rig an election if the elections are not electronically transmitted?
Okay, so this is what it is. Number one, you need to understand the process. The process initially is that we cast our vote at the polling unit, and then at the end of the day, they count it, they record it into a form called Form EC8A. Now, that Form EC8A, the moment all the party agents agrees, then all of them will sign. And then the presiding officer is expected to snap it and send to IREF. Then also that same Form EC8A, paste it at the polling station. They now take the hard copy to the Ward Collation Center. This is the issue. Most times, we are not at the Ward Collation Center.
No, we're not.
Miracle do happen at the Ward Collation Center. So, and I give you an example. In Kogi election, in Imo election, governorship election in 2023, November, what we tabulate on IREF was totally different from what INEC announced.
In the Imo election?
In the Imo election, governorship election. And then we asked, what exactly is going on? We released the report, ballot integrity report. Now, this is it. Do you know what INEC said? The response of INEC was that, look, at the collation center, we correct mistake, we adjust. Excuse me? So which means you still make adjustment at the collation center. So what this means now is that when that adjustment is being made, you have voted and you see that, oh, the party I'm supporting have 95. They've adjusted it to 90. You don't know the reason. So two things is this. That process of adjusting and nobody knows anything, you have to eradicate it. It has to be, the polling unit has to be the authentic result, not what you adjust at the ward collation or at the local government collation center. So the whole idea now is, the moment you finish voting and they count it, party A scored 10, party B scored 22, party C now scored 90. Write it, every one of us agree, you sign it, and then you snap it, you transmit it, we can see. Now, everything we are still talking about is still is the first phase. Let me put it like that. First phase in the sense that just transmit. We have not even started talking about don't do manual collation again. That place you are transmitting to should be collating, which means as the figure is getting there, you are seeing it adding up. So we have not even gotten to that level. So if we are demanding for that one, what are we going to begin to say? Because that is the real-time collation. So when you look at that, it will reduce that human interference and figure changing based on, oh, we need to correct. Let me give you an example. 2024 election, Edo election in Ipobauka, in Edo local government. Others, all civil society, we came together, all of us, we released a statement. Because in those two local governments, they chased out observers, they chased out party agents, and then we discovered that the figures that were announced was totally different from what was coming from the polling unit. All those things will be eradicated.
There's one issue that one of our lawmakers talked about. He said, listen, if we invalidate a result because we had a network failure, and elections have held here, and then network happened, and because the network was poor, transmission of the result in real time to the IREF didn't happen, and then you invalidate that election because of that. How many elections are we going to invalidate? How many times will we rerun elections? It's expensive, it's chaotic, it's not tenable. Let's be realistic with our situation here. Let's have an alternative for when network fails. That was his justification.
Yeah, what he's saying is not new. It's just because what he's saying happens. What his justification is that he's tying it to the final result that is coming from the polling unit.
Yes.
Is he aware? Is the person aware that the law today, Electoral Act today, says if you don't use beavers for accreditation, the polling unit is cancelled? That is the law.
But it's not exactly the same network that Beavers uses that we will need for transmission to the IREF.
So
transmission and viewing. It's a different type of network.
They are not different. It's a device, electronic device.
Yes.
You have to use electronic device to accredit. So if you are coming with the argument that, are we going to be reconducting election? How many polling units have they cancelled that we have gone back to reconduct because they did not use beavers? It is in the law. He said cancel it if you don't use it. And you know what? Because they have to cancel, because it has legislative backing, the law is there backing it that you have to cancel. Politicians started protecting, they just make party agents make sure beavers is being used because they don't want their vote to be lost, invalidated. It's still going to be the same thing. See, the truth of the matter is that when it pays you, it's good. When you think it's not going to favor you, it's bad. You'll be coming with a lot of excuses. But the truth of the matter is that the politicians alone or the lawmakers alone are not the only election stakeholders. The citizen, the judiciary, the security agencies, INEC, political party, they are just 5. So you cannot just say because you are the only person, you can and you are saddled with the provision of making laws, and then I give you an example. Look at Imo election. By the time they started adding up figure, getting results, they declare a winner actually, but arithmetically, the vote of the winner or the vote declared was even more than the total vote cast. Save the judiciary, all this thing, and then let there be transparency. Now, why are we afraid of light, transparency? Why are we afraid of it? And this is 24th century, 2006.
Because we can use the dark to do all kinds of things.
So this is
so when you turn on the light, you're causing problems.
Yeah, it's just simple. Okay, so if we agree that what we have at the polling unit, just this is the result. Just transmit it that everybody can see. It shouldn't cause any problem. What happens now is, as of today, is that we are still where we are in 2022. Nothing has moved. However, the conference committee are supposed to meet. It is our hope, Nigeria, every one of us, civil society, it is our hope that they will adopt the House of Rep version, which is more progressive. It's not progressive because the House of Rep version actually mention real time. The House of Rep version actually give it strong legislative backing, make it mandatory without providing any proviso or any condition. And we know that in Nigeria, anytime you put a condition to a law, then the condition becomes the law.
Yes. So is it because there's still a lot of conversations going on? Is that why the protests have stopped?
Yes, it's because there's still a lot of conversation going on. And one of the things we have been doing now is that we are reaching out to people at the conference to look in between the line. fact sheet has been produced, statement has been released, analysis has been released, even role play has been done, that we are sharing with these people, sending SMS, the conference committee, their names are everywhere, all of them have collected, we have sharing. Look, this time around, this committee, 24 of them, the fate of over 93 million registered voters is hanging on them to do the right thing. Because for the first time, Nigerians and voters, citizens agree that this is exactly what we want.
They stick to what is there right now.
Well, the struggle continues. We now begin to see what we begin to do. But if they stick to what is there right now, then which one? Are we saying the House of Rep or the Senate?
Senate.
We don't pray that happen, because that is more injurious to our democracy.
What if they do?
What if they do? Then we will be taking the entire advocacy to the president, to the executive. You know, the president have to sign. And we have seen a situation where the president has returned laws back to the National Assembly and say, for this reason, please amend this.
Some people believe that the reason why this is happening is because they want, well, it's not factual.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have been talking about the fact that the reason why we are dealing with what we're dealing with right now is because many people want Tinubu back into, and they want to be able to rig it.
No, you see,
a sure rigging that will keep him in office for a second term. So
I don't want to believe that.
For people who have been saying that, who are listening to you right now, you're going to take the problem to the person that they think is the problem.
No, do you know why I don't want to believe that? Because it doesn't add up to me. Add up to me in the sense that if the President Tinubu and his party, they have close to 30 governors. They have
governors are not voters.
Which means their political party is controlling like about 30. So 30 states. Then it doesn't add up that the political party that have an advantage is the one that is afraid of transparency. So that's why it doesn't add up to me. Because the people that should be afraid of transparency are the people, are the minority. However, you control more states, and we know the influence of the government. That is why they are decamping.
A lot of people will not agree with you.
Yeah, they don't agree with me.
Because what they believe is, listen, to stay in power, especially if you feel like you've not done enough for the people to love you and vote for you freely and fairly, it would make sense for some people to make the process a little more murky, so that we don't know what happens at the collation centers.
You know, in Nigeria, I've not seen any approval rating that have said, oh, the president has dropped in his approval rating, whatever. I want to believe. I don't know if you have also seen the article flying around that President Tinubu wrote in 2013 calling for electronic voting.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So this is the time to put that to test.
Okay. Well, it's something I'll be watching to see how it unfolds, but I really do have to thank you, Idowu, for being with us on Hard Copy, and good luck with all the advocacy I know you have going on.
Thank you. We hope that at the end of the day, the Nigerians will get the best.
That's Hard Copy this week. I'm Kayla Megwa. Good night.